Everywhere you look in the lead up to the 2022 season, there's a lot of discussion about the Dogs offense. Mainly, people are talking about the burden this offense has got, and Kirby is one of those folks talking a couple of weeks ago at media days. Excuse me, at uh, at spring meetings for the conference, talking about how important it is for Georgia's offense to continue to be explosive. One of the things that Greg McElroy had to say a couple of months ago is important here too. This is the question, a couple of them. Will Georgia's offense in 2022 have to shoulder the load? It is possible that there will be more games excuse me, it is possible that there will be more games where you have to get in the upper 30s and lower 40s to win. Is this offense capable of that? Now, look, Greg is an Alabama homer, but it doesn't mean he's some idiot. He's not. He makes very good um, observations consistently. The thing I think most insiders would say to you is, hey, the Georgia offense scored like that most of the year in 2021. 56 against UAB, 40 against South Carolina, 62 against Vanderbilt, 37 against the Hogs, 34 against Auburn. Against Auburn, 30 against Kentucky, 34 against the Gators, 43 against Mizzou, 41 at Neyland, 56-45 against the also Rans at the end of the schedule. They only scored 24 against Alabama and then 34 and 33, one of which was a pick six, but hey, it counts, I guess. I I think what we're getting into here is there's what people are trying to say and they're not doing as good a job of it is, the defense is not going to be as good, so the offense is going to have to pick the program up at times. Yeah, I don't think the defense is going to be as good, but there's no suggestion necessarily that the offenses that Georgia play will be as good in 2022. I mean, when you look at, we were sort of led to believe that Clemson would have a good offense. That turned out not to be the case in a big way. But Oregon has shown in the past the ability to score. We'll see what happens there. South Carolina with Spencer Rattler. Missouri, no. Auburn's got some transition. Vanderbilt, no. Florida, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Tennessee for sure. I think Tennessee is the one team that if you are saying, hey, Georgia could have to get into a shootout, it would be the Tennessee game, you would think. And then the State on the road, which is what a lot of folks think could be a tricky game. Kentucky on the road. The end of this season for Georgia is certainly full of landmines, but Georgia Tech is just not good. So I don't know that this year is a lot different than a season ago. I mean, when you think about all of the games where Georgia scored so many points, but like what Greg and them are trying to say is, I don't know if they can have the sort. I don't know if they can score when they need to score. Well, that's true. And here's a good example of it from the book. Alabama scored 41 points against Georgia in one game, and the game that really mattered, they scored 18. So we're back to the same old thing where when you need to score, you'd better be able to score. And I mean, honestly, for Georgia, they've done that. I mean, when you look, they needed to score against Alabama in the second game, and they did. Now, they took half a game to do it, but they did it. And it was getting to the point where they were going to have to grind that game out. But they got the job done and won the game how they had to win it. Make sure you're picking up DAWGSTRUCTION today. If you get this book, which a lot of y'all are ordering, thankfully I just have gotten some books in. They'll be here I think on Monday. If you get this book, then you get the magazine, which we're picking up later today on Friday. Brock Bowers, it's going to come in the package with DAWGSTRUCTION. If you just want the magazine, that's awesome. That's great too. There's a link down below. Make sure you're picking that up. I don't have as many magazines maybe as I need to over this period of time. Make sure you're getting it now. There are also 50 of them at Red Zone in Athens. It's the only places you can pick it up. It's on Clayton Street in Athens. Go pick them up there. If you're in Athens, that's a great spot to pick it up. Go visit Scott and company at Red Zone. And they've got a ton of Nike stuff for y'all to check out too, as well as some specialty champion things, yada yada yada. It's a fun store. Look, if you don't score and win, they're going to criticize you for that. If you can't grind it out and win, you're going to get criticized for that too. You got to win. That's all there is to it. And I'm not overdoing this thing with McElroy. He's not wrong, but it's kind of a relatively obvious thing. They're going to have to score. This league, this isn't 12 years ago when Kirby and Nick were, grinding people into submission and winning games by holding teams to, you know, fewer than 10 points. I mean, that era of college football is gone. Everybody talks about how much they hate change. No, they only hate the change. They only hate the change that they don't like. And college football has progressed to more points. And if your team is winning, you're going to like that. And Georgia just won, and they won, frankly, by being the number one defense in the country. But they couldn't have won the national championship without scoring a bunch of points too. Being a top 10 offense and scoring offense, that helps. So this is really back to the point though. Can these guys score more? I redid my chart. I am not going to turn the camera, but I redid my chart over here to indicate all the scholarship players that the Dogs have got. And when you look at this situation with the return of Kieris, Rosemary Jack Saint, Blaylock, McConkey, Smith, Mitchell, and you have the addition of some of these players, that's really good at receiver. This is probably as deep as they've been since maybe the 11 or 12 season when Aaron and them were flying up down the field. That ignores Darnell and company at tight end. This offense does not have the quarterback that the 12 team has. It doesn't have the singular running back that the 12 team has. Its tight ends blow the 2012 tight ends out of the water. Same thing with the offensive line. They're going to be able to mash people a lot. And I think the running backs are deeper than they were in 12. But, this team is going to score points. That's all there is to it. Are they going to score enough points? They're going to lose a game. I mean, I don't see how they don't lose a singular game in the 2022 season. I mean, let's just go backwards a little bit. You just don't, it's very rare to win the national championship going undefeated, particularly in the SEC. If you're in the Big Ten, that's a tougher conference, generally speaking, than the ACC. But you can maybe escape the Big Ten without a loss. You should probably escape the ACC without a loss if you plan on winning the national championship. But leaving this league without a loss, it's just so hard to do, particularly with the championship game being a quasi playoff game, certainly a play-in game. So I do think Georgia will lose. I don't know who they will lose to. I think that's a good question. And I'm not convinced they'll lose in the regular season. But I think when you talk about what you got to do offensively the entire time, I think Georgia can pull that off with Stetson as the quarterback, with Carson Beck as the quarterback. I mean, I think Stetson gives you the ability to run the ball out of quarterback. That's a really important thing in today's college football. I mean, everybody's high on Hendon Hooker, which I think they should be at Tennessee. One of the major reasons why are his legs. So that is really important. And let's be frank too, Alabama. I don't know if they beat Georgia or not. Certainly, without Bryce Young running the way he did. The way he ran was one of the major reasons why Alabama kept that game at arm's length in the second half. I mean, they were only up a touchdown going into the half. They weren't blowing Georgia out by any stretch of the imagination. They just had an explosive second quarter, but his legs were were a major problem in the second half for Georgia. That was not a problem in Indianapolis because GATA, they Georgia definitely got after his ass in a big way, and his ass was on the ground a lot. Um, but you're gonna need to score all the time. When you don't score, you're gonna get criticized. When you don't defend and you can't grind out victories, you're gonna get criticized for that too. You gotta figure out how to win in all different kinds of way. We have seen Georgia do that. They prefer to keep things low scoring if possible, but they have shown that they can win games where they've got to score 30 points or more. Generally speaking, they score 30 points or more. Again, just a very quick review of the 21 season without referencing the magazine, the DAWGSTRUCTION. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of their regular season games, they scored 30 points or more. 3 of their postseason games, only one of them they failed to score at least 30 points. And when you get into the regular season, when you get into the semifinals of the current makeup of college football playoff, it is tough to score 40. This isn't a couple of years ago where LSU was flying up and down the field, or even in 2020 when Alabama was flying up and down the field. This Alabama, Georgia, Cincinnati, that's a punch in the face kind of game. So you got to win however you can win, and that's the problem in college football. It's tough.